Hi. So over the past 4 weeks, our Peaceful Warrior immersion has been going to the Dayton Quest Center, or the dojo, and we've been learning Toshindo. So I would like to make this video to thank Mr. Hayes and Mr. Norris for their instruction working with our group over this time. So Toshindo has definitely been an amazing part of this immersion, as I find it to be intense and creative and also controlled. Um, so I think, as I said in a previous video, we are being trained so that if we were in a real life dangerous situation, we could think of the best way to deal with it and be able to execute moves in a smart and effective way. So not only are these skills extremely valuable for physical situations, but I think they're also valuable for intellectual and emotional situations that we might encounter. So for example, every day we're bombarded with distractions and a wide range of different ideas that can be imposed upon us. And so whether this is through social media or advertisements, it's easy to get caught up with what needs to be done next, or how we can keep up with trends, or how we can make our impact on the world known. So knowing which of these ideas are good for us and which ones aren't, and how to deal with them, is something that we're all going to need to learn eventually. And Toshindo, I think, has really given me a solid foundation for that. The other thing that I want to touch on is that we have learned the different ways in which we can handle a situation like that through learning water techniques, earth techniques, wind, and fire. So that's where the creativity comes in, I think, because people get so accustomed to their own ways of reacting to a situation that, and I know I'm guilty of this, we can tend to forget that there are multiple ways to handle things. And a more watery response might be better for something in one situation, whereas in another, it might be better to stand your ground and have an earthy tone. So that's really been interesting for me and helpful. I've already had to think about that in many situations already. The other thing that I've learned about personal defense, or from personal defense from Mr. Norris and Mr. Hayes, has to do with the awareness of my own body and space and those around me. And I think that is very impactful for me because it's made me a little bit more aware and conscious, whether I'm in the dojo or not, just of what other people might be going through or feeling, and how my actions could affect that, and vice versa. So thank you for that. And one of the main things that I've taken away from being at the dojo and learning from Mr. Hayes and Mr. Norris are that I can hold myself accountable for living to my potential, and sometimes that can be scary because I think we're all a little bit more mature than we realize. And Mr. Squires has said that people, or young people, can be held to a very low standard these days and get away with acting like idiots sometimes, which I agree with. And so recognizing that I have the potential to act in a mature way, especially when necessary, and taking responsibility for acting that way and holding myself to that standard, is something I've learned at the dojo, because when you're practicing with a partner, or just the entire 45 minutes that we're in that space, we are being held accountable for being present and listening and being respectful of the other person, being respectful of the tools we're using, and not fooling around and twirling the bow around crazily or anything. So that can be taken into real life, I think, for sure. And finally, I would like to say that, or I would like to thank them for the celebration that I think I've gotten from Toshindo, or the element of celebration, I guess. Because every time we walk into the space, we bow to it and celebrate that space and what we're about to do. And we celebrate the art, and we celebrate the lineage and our teachers. And in the belting ceremony, we also do that, and we celebrate what we learned and the personal and group growth that we've been through over the past 4 months. And so I think without Toshindo and without Mr. Hayes and Mr. Norris, a huge part of this immersion would have been completely different. And I think that and I think I can speak for the group as well, would not have grown as much from this experience. So with that, I would like to say thank you.